I always put this clip about my knee high.
So we're installing the clip where the tube of the closing device goes on the back of the door. And here is the tube. It's a weighted, air-driven system.
Mark it first, put the tube here. The tube attaches into the clip, but when you mark this end of this cable, you put the tube here, about an inch or two, in front of the clip. Put that there and leave your finger there. And then I would drop this valve into the track to make sure it's straight, not like that, not twisted. And you make sure that your cable head is in line. This one is not, so I gotta twist it just a little bit so it's running parallel. Screw through the valve down here. Now I'm squeezing the tube at the top of this clip. I'm gonna raise the tube up so it's touching at the top. And we're gonna gently bring that down maybe a 1/4 inch, just a little bit. So the tube's not touching at the top of the header. Screw that in there so it's taut. Sometimes this cable does not go in there because it's a little tight. Give it a test. Open the valve so it goes faster. It's a little tight on this end. So the door should be shutting right now. It is not. So we got to reduce friction. That is usually this piece of felt that runs here. So Voila. Now we can slow it back down. That is the Allen wrench. And the set screw, screwing that inwards clockwise. Give that a try. So speed it back up a little bit. Counterclockwise. Just a little more. Looks a lot better. And this lives right here. Latch. Take the outside latch. Shoulder height. From the inside of the house, latch is shoulder height. That is way above 54 inches. So shut the door. Butt it up like that. Leave about 1/8 of an inch space between the jamb and the handle. Open that up. I forgot to grab my pencil. So back that up about 1/8 of an inch. And then mark your holes. Some jams have a flat piece here, not a channel. So in this scenario, if that had that flat piece, this would not work because that hook is going to stop here. We can't drill back here because we'd be drilling into the glass. So there's different types of doors.
You said you can't install with that flat jam like that?
It's called a flush mount.
Flush mount, and
the door would
doors
stop right there.
Okay.
But this has a deep channel in there, so we're good to go. We can drill through the meat. This line right here is where the glass stops. So that glass goes all the way to this line. So we're good into here. If it's a flush mount, you have to make sure that this is measured to go inside. And there's other pieces for that, for the latch catch. But for this is the typical vinyl door with a channel instead of the flush mount. Be extremely careful and patient when you're poking through this skin with your drill, because inside of there is a metal frame, aluminum, that's attached to the glass. But usually the vinyl coating is not attached to the metal. So that metal sometimes is very wiggly in there, and it'll create your drill bit to start walking. So you just put pressure on it, not a lot. I'm not pushing at all hardly, until it starts that hole. Then you can push a little. in there. Just poke it. Not putting. Now we're not pushing because we're against that metal. If you start pushing too early, that metal's going to bend and twist on you. Then you don't know where you're going to end up when you go out the other side. Next bit. I always go to the inside to do these holes. In this instance, there are 3 different size screws. With this door, we use the middle screws, middle length
That's for the vinyl.
for the vinyl doors.
What size drill bits did you use?
It's a 1/8 inch, and this is a 5/32. Vinyl doors get this spacer, and I'll show you why.
And was that a little sleeve that you put in there?
The black,
Here.
that's the female screw.
Okay. All right.
It's got a Phillips, and it's threaded, so this one, so they attach this way.
Okay.
The reason we add this black spacer is because of this thick wall right here. Okay, that's pretty thick. Black spacer goes to the outside of the house. This is the inside, this is the outside. Line up your holes as best as you can. Make sure it's straight and looks pretty. Once that's done, you take your drill again and ream this out. Black knobs. I like to clean up as I go. So this door is rolling to my right from the inside of the house. You'll notice 2 different types of knobs. Okay, you can see the difference there. This side, this knob here always goes to the hook. Whether the door rolls left or right, this knob goes to the hook side, usually the outside of the door. Since this rolls to the right, we have to start with this piece, and that is all because of this Allen wrench set screw right here. If we did this one first, you couldn't be able to tighten it up because the handle will be in the way. So
Now, when you say it rolls to the right, that is from the inside of the house.
right. So you'll start, if it rolls to the right, you don't start with the hook side. You start with the side that doesn't have the hook. And we open these screws up a little bit so we can fit that key stock in here. There's 3 different sizes of key stock. This particular door takes the longest one. The medium screws with the longest key stock. Because of that spacer, we added length to it. So these go away. These are for different types of doors. Drop that in there, tighten it. I always start with 3 spacers on the inside. 1, 2, 3. Then you need your axle or your bearing. And that goes like that. So then you grab 2 more bearings, spacers. That's not it. And sometimes that happens. You don't
there
put
it
it up
is.
in there. Oh, here it is. It's still in the bag. All right, so inside of the house, we're gonna look it up. So this slides through here like that. I like to leave maybe just a little bit over length than the width of the handle here. I want that key stock to stick out just a little bit, 1/8 inch. And we can only use 2 spacers plus this bearing like that. Okay, so that worked out. In this case, sometimes you will only put 2 spacers there. This took 3, and I knew it would. So next is the hook. I hold the hook in my left hand, put this spring like that. Then I grab it like this. All right, this spring cannot be up like that. That will not work. This has to be on the back side of that hook. Okay, then you grab that so that doesn't move. The only metal washer, the knob, and your 1/16 Allen wrench. And put square peg in there. We're gonna have to cut this hook. Okay. So that's on there. But that hook should be facing downward, not upward like it is now. That's not good. It's the blurry, huh?
Yeah.
So in this scenario, what happens is when we cinch these bolts down for that handle to the door, that door gives away because there's space in there, which caused this handle to move forward, which causes that hook tail, and that hook is kind of sprung upwards. We want it to kind of spring downwards. In this scenario, take this back off. And probably want to cut it there. I gotta go get a grinder.